Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's another Mythic Monday and we're going to be diving into the Necronominus wave. Today we're going to be taking a look at Sir Elijah and the Knight's Hands pack. If Saturday morning cartoons fueled your imagination as a kid and powers your action figure collecting now as an adult, then you're in the right place. Thanks for stopping by and welcome to Saturday Morning Toy Collecting. And here we also have the Knights of Etherion Hands pack. We're going to be taking a look at that in conjunction. You can see just about everything he comes with, and you know, one of the things that I really like about this is you can see back here that there is a second tray with additional stuff. That's how much stuff this basic figure comes with. Here we have the Etherion faction symbol, and then here if you want to pause it and read his bio, you can. He is a noble messenger for the Templars of Etherion. So let's look here at the cross sale. I do have Gideon Heaven's brand pre-ordered. Let's see, I also have Bealulith and also Tuperculi. I have them pre-ordered as of right now, and I do have some friends heading to ZoloCon this weekend. I'm going to see if they can probably pick me up either, Necronominus himself, or if they don't have him, maybe Maxilius the Harvester, or if, maybe Sir Dalric. So there's a little write-up of the state of Mythos right now. Beautiful artwork on the back. So, I did want to show off that you get 10 hands in this pack, both in the three colors, the gunmetal, gray, the gold, and the silver. These are the Knights of Etherion Hands pack. So you get 30 hands total for about $20, which is really nice. And they're really going to help us kit out all of the characters in this line. And then you can use, like, those gold hands are really good for, like, Sir Gideon Heaven's brand, but you could also use them on Sir Andrew here from All Stars Wave 6. And then some of the other silver hands can also be used for Sir Enoch. Enoch, of course, is also coming in the All Stars Wave 6. But yeah, let's get him opened up and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Speaking of that secondary tray, anytime that a character comes with a second tray, I always want to show you guys like what comes in that tray and like what's going on. There's a lot of stuff here. So we have that big, beautiful Templar shield right here. We have 2 additional hands, 2 different styles of clips for the shield, the skeleton faceplate, the pauldrons, a belt, and that new style longsword. So taking a closer look at the all of the accessories here, we have the shoulder pauldrons. I really dig this gold accent on the back, but yeah, the way that looks, that little spiral design is nice. You can see that we're a deep like gunmetal here. I just want to show off the finish. So what we're looking at for the whole armor here is this deep dark gunmetal gray with some really nice rivets painted here on the front, the gold lining running throughout, more rivets on the back, and then that little flower design I think is really nice. We have in the front part of the tray, we have his big warhammer here. It's meant to be wielded by one hand or possibly 2 if you want. I love that you get this spiky bit on this side, and then the business end. I like how the business end kind of looks like a castle, like stood up on its side. And then you get this bladed mace pommel, which also could do some damage. But I really love this. It's got a nice wash on it over the whole thing, and I really dig this hammer. Next up, we get that really nice new sword. I think this might be the same scabbard that we've seen before. I don't think they had to reinvent the wheel there, but we do get this nice new sword. So it's got much of a thinner blade. It's got that nice blood vein running down the middle, and then it comes to a much thinner, sharper point on the end. You got that nice little curved part on the gold handguard, the leather straps for the handle, but I really dig this Templar cross here on the pommel. The gold and red looks really nice, and I really dig that. So I'm digging this new style of sword. I like it. It's about time they updated the sword. Like I said, I think the scabbard's the same. It's got that same little clip there for the belt. Speaking of belts, we get this new very thin style belt. Goes across the chest. It's very well painted to be so thin. It's got a nice wash on it, that tiny little silver metal buckle there. I really dig that. I'm glad they added that. And then we get a new knife, finally, a little short sword. So yeah, I like this new sheath. It's got this little ball on the tip, which I think is really nice. It's brown and gold. And I really like the interplay between like the handguard and the top of the scabbard. It really fits in there nicely. Nice new little blade there. We got the gold handguard. We got the brown grip. And I really like this bright red pommel. I think that's really nice. They didn't have to go overboard with the cross. I dig it. And then we get this beautiful shield. This thing is gorgeous. It's got this beautiful matte sort of satin finish on the shield, which is really cool. And then, of course, as you guys know, you can pop out that centerpiece, so this metal part can come off. It's got that nice gunmetal and gold finish on it. You can put a different design on the front of this if you'd like. And then it's sort of ringed all the way around with this dark gunmetal gray and then like the brighter silver rivets, which look really nice. And it's just beautiful. This is not a shield that's going to go in my my parts bin. I'm going to be using this. It does come with both styles of the handle, so you can either use the more contemporary handle itself, or I actually really prefer these C clamps that kind of go around the wrist. I like these. I think they're a lot more versatile. It frees the hand up to hold something else, and I really like the way that looks. I'm glad they started including these again in the figures. Next up, we have two gripping hands on vertical hinges in the package. He comes with two gripping hands on horizontal hinges. And then next up, we get two neck pegs here. Same size of the ball, and they both have the hinge, but you can see the one on the left is much shorter than the one on the right. Now, I went back and took a look at Bill over at Dork Lairs video, and I think he might have mentioned that the shorter one was for the helmeted head, whereas the longer one was for the Sir Elijah head, because that's how it comes packaged, in box. But I actually think that he might have those backwards. I think this shorter one is actually meant for the Sir Elijah head, even though that's not how he come packaged, and the taller one is actually for the helmet, because the helmet sits a little too close to the metal mail around his neck with the short one, but it has a lot more clearance and a lot more mobility on the taller one. So I really think this, like I said, the short one I think is for the Sir Elijah head, unhelmeted head, and then the taller one is for the helmeted head. And I'm going to show you how those two neck pegs look with both heads in just a minute, but I really think this one is meant for the helmet. So yeah, but otherwise, dude, they didn't have to include these two different styles, but they certainly did. And it's just a nice addition to, just thinking forward. That's what the Four Horsemen do best. Next up, we have this gorgeous helmet, and this piece is exquisite. Now, this is not a helmet like the shield that's just going to go in a fodder bin. Absolutely not. This thing is exquisitely crafted. I will have to buy another Sir Elijah once they all hit just to put this helmet on, because like in the fantasy world, that the world of make-believe where these guys do their battles and everything, like this helmet would have been expertly crafted, but in the real world it is expertly crafted by the Four Horsemen and the painters and the sculptors, because this thing is just every single rivet and divot and filigree is painted beautifully. And like I said, this is not going in a fodder bin. This is going to have some shelf presence, because it's just too beautiful to leave in a box. Just all of the detail. It's just, I just can't say enough. It got a beautiful gold line going across the top and the back. This is going to look amazing. Now, the star of the show here is the Sir Elijah head. Just look at all that mail work. Each individual ring is sculpted and painted. It's just so beautiful. We have this nice, fierce Sir Elijah head. I just love this look for him. He looks great. And this is a faceplate. So really what you just need to do is just kind of get your thumbnail, if you can, or, sort of like a plastic blunt little, something to be able to stick underneath there so you don't scratch it up. But the faceplate comes off. You can see that it does have two little nubs right there that plug into these two little holes in the back of the head. And then you can replace it with the skeletal faceplate, and the whole storyline that goes along with this wave is that when the forces of Necronominus sweep across the battlefield, Maxilius the Harvester can come through and lay waste to everybody and kill them. And then I believe Necronominus walks the battlefield, bringing them all back to life. And when he comes back to life, he's going to be coming back to life as this undead soldier. So that's sort of the thing you're going to, see throughout this wave as he brings these people back to life. And, just about every hero or good guy is going to come with some sort of skeletal faceplate. Even the horse comes with a skeletal head that you can replace it. I think the only one that doesn't is Sir Gideon Heavensbrand. He's just too important to the story to have him die off on the battlefield. So, he's not going to come with one. And I think his faceplate doesn't have the same backing, so you can't just swap them in and out. But this head is beautiful. Can't wait to see what it looks like on the body again. And it's just exquisite. So let's get this back on the body and get him up on the rotating base and take a look at that body. Now here is Sir Elijah straight out of the package, right out of the box. There's no extra accessories put on him, and just wanted to see him head to toe, and he looks phenomenal. I'm loving that dark gunmetal gray and gold accents on the Valiant Knight body. As you guys can see, we're working with some really beautiful soft goods designed and engineered by C. Jessam, and then expertly recreated by the factory. But yeah, the tunic is in two separate pieces. The top portion is separate from the bottom. The loincloth is separate from the bottom tunic. So it's actually three separate pieces altogether. The printing on there with the red cross is beautiful. You can see that there's already holes poked in the back of the tunic for the shoulder pauldron, so you don't have to do that yourself. I'm really glad they did that. And yeah, he just looks great in this gunmetal color. I also really like the soft goods on the upper part as opposed to the sculpted soft goods that we got before. I think this is with the introduction of that Valiant Knight upper torso, I think this allows for that, and I'm glad that they went this direction. I don't think it's something I might have thought of, but I'm glad they sure did, because he just looks fantastic with the soft goods up top and below, and I'm glad that the engineering on this body and the belt accommodate those soft goods so that they sit very realistically, they move very realistically, and nothing's very they don't hinder the movement at all, especially since they're separate pieces. And that is something I really appreciate, and I'm glad that they give us in this figure. Okay, punching in on some of those details here, and we're going to first start out by looking at the shorter of the two neck pegs. And so this is the short neck peg that we have on here. You can see just how more realistically I think the distance is from the head and the body. You can see that there's a really good amount of space between the chin, and so this allows for a lot of freedom of movement. So Sir Elijah can look up, and we got a lot of bobble, so he can look up that far. He can look down. We have a nice amount of bobble and tilt, so you can get really some of those emotive head poses. But I want to show you what this looks like by putting on the short neck peg with the helmeted look. So when you do this and it's seated all the way down, you can see that the bottom of the faceplate touches this metal chainmail piece around his neck. So there is no downward movement. He can look up perfectly fine, but there is no downward. You can see he's looking straight ahead, and there is no downward looking motion at all because it runs into the head. So you can tilt it back and forth, and you get a lot of bobble there, but it's just not going to be the same. So we're going to pop the short one off. We're going to pop the long one back on. The long one does come packaged on the figure in the box. And so now when you put Sir Elijah on, you can see there's a lot more room than there was before, a lot more room. So he's going to have increased range of motion, but that's almost maybe too much room, but it is perfect for the helmeted head. Now you can see that the jawline is not touching the chainmail around the waist, around the neck, but he can actually look down. You can see his eyes, that's sort of like him looking forward. And now this is sort of like what you see the nice amount of room there, but then you do get that nice tilt down. Tilt up is also better, and then nice bobble and range of motion without any paint rub. But we're going to pop this head off. We're just going to leave this neck on, and for the rest of the review, pop Sir Elijah on, and we're just going to leave this for the rest of the review, and we'll not talk about that anymore. So right now, here is the way the figure stands straight out of the package. And one of the things that I really love about this soft goods is that it's like beautifully stitched around the armholes, which is great. You have this nice belt that comes pre-installed in the package. You don't have to put that on separately. I like the little loops right here around the belt, but look how close to his body his arms can get. This is the new arms, the new torso piece from the Valiant Knight. Typically a Mythic Legions figure, the arms are going to stick out, maybe about this far is a standard figure, but look at this. He can go all the way in. The soft goods do not hinder arm movement at all. They can go up and hit that T-pose, no problem. No interruptions there. You can go full 360. There's no upper bicep swivel. You do have, just look at the detail in there. The two little individual brown straps right there before that chain, one right after that chain. It's just so beautifully painted. You got another little brown strap here with a silver buckle for his elbow guard. And then, turning it around here on the outside, you can see all the nice rivets and line work that's done. There's a little silver chain at the top and bottom of the elbow piece, which is beautiful. You have the nice little golden clasps on the gauntlet and on the glove. Just looks so good. It's just so well sculpted and painted. Just clean paintwork through and through. I like the back of the belt. Here we've got some more of those little on the side. We've got two loops. It's beautifully painted with this wash and the rivets, so you can put two swords or one. Nice, more loops right there on the back. Here is a look at the two different parts in the front of the lower tabard. You've got the lower loincloth piece right there. You can see a little bit of that crotch armor, and you can see here that this is the top piece is separate, and it is on this it has this elastic band to keep it cinched around the waist. All the lower parts of the tunic are wired. You have some more of those nice, beautiful, like the paintwork down, the line work and the rivets, all the belts and buckles and all the clasps to hold all this armor on, and every rivet on his foot painted. No amount of paint detail was skipped here, so legs can go out to the front and the side that far, back that far. You get a really nice upper thigh swivel hidden with the armor, and then you get this great knee bend, which is a little bit past 90. I mean, that, just check that out right there. So that would be like what 90 would look like, and then it can go up even further than that. So that's really cool. You've got this nice swivel, hinge, and ankle rocker down on the foot for all the foot articulation you could possibly want. And I just really love, look at that, with that ball joint. You can lean him forward that far, back that far. He's got all the bobble in the world right there at that joint, and that elastic waist sits so perfectly and bunches so naturally around the top of the tunic above the belt. It just looks absolutely perfect. So let me show you how the little loops work here. We can put in, like you could put his little dagger in that first loop. You can take the sword and scabbard, long sword, and put that in the second loop. If you wanted him to have both swords, both blades on his waist, you can certainly do that. You could also just take the knife out as well, and then just run the long sword through both loops if you want to go with that look. I think that looks really good. And then we got to get these pauldrons on. So we're just going to probably push up the tunic to where the holes line up with the holes in his back, and then we'll grab the man, I'm just dropping things, don't have the right one. And let's see if these are going to fight me, if they're going to push in nicely. They push in very nicely. It looks really good. Man, I'm really digging this. I can't wait. And this one's fighting me just a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of fabric in the way. This one's just a little bit tighter than the one on his right shoulder. But there you have it. You really want to kind of push that chainmail piece down around the neck. And then make sure that the pauldrons sit on top of that if you want to have them a little higher up, so that it doesn't bump into each other. And man, that just looks really, really good. That's just fantastic. Honestly, with the pauldrons on, you're not even going to notice the distance. So, you could probably just put the tall neck peg on and leave it. And then Look at that. Oh man, that is beautiful. That looks so good. Tell me that this guy doesn't deserve to have this helmet on your shelf. We'll put Sir Elijah on for the rest of the review here. But I did. Oh, guy almost lost that in the back. And then we'll put on the other faceplate just to show you. And I just, skeletons and armor, they do it for me. That's my peanut butter and my jelly. That is beautiful right there. But yeah, that looks so dope. I really enjoyed this guy so much, like way too much. Now, I do want to show you the hands pack. There's a couple of hands I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to show you the gripping hands on the horizontal hinges and the gripping hands on the vertical hinges. They're the exact same ones that come with Sir Elijah, but we are going to take a look at the other hands that come in this pack for Sir Elijah. So you've got two closed fists, both left and right on horizontal hinges, and they look really nice. So this is when he's, unarmored or unkitted out and he's ready to fight. Fisticuffs, and we've got two splayed out hands, gesturing hands, which are really good for like pointing towards somebody with his sword raised. These are both on horizontal hinges, and then another pair of splayed out hands, but they're more clasped, they're more gripped down a little tighter, and so you can see the difference here, how tight the fingers are grasped. And I think these look great as well. Both of these are on horizontal hinges. I really dig this hand. This is a really nice hand. Maybe could help hold the helmet if you wanted to put the helmet under the arm, or if he's in his skeletal form. Now, I did want to show like what he looks like with his soft goods off, and he looks great. I think the colors work very well, but as you can see here, the belt is very loose because of the way that the torso is engineered to accommodate the soft goods. This little belt area here is and here's a better look at his like crotch armor piece, whatever the technical name for this is, I don't know. Protecting the warrior's pride, we'll call it that. But you can see how the whole like belt piece is like very loose, and it's to accommodate both the top and the bottom soft goods, and it looks great when with the soft goods applied. But much like I would have instead of like the two different necks, I would have appreciated like a little plastic disc or something that kind of sits in here and pushes the belt upward a little more from below, so that it didn't look so weird when you had the soft goods. So if you wanted to display him as a basic soldier, you could. But the 3D printing and customizing community built around Mythic Legions is huge and vast, and there are a lot of people out there like Lynn from Wolf King Customs that will probably create something that fits down in there, to sort of like keep that from looking so weird. You can see how the articulation moves and works with that missing, but you can almost see the articulation post in there just right as it is. So until somebody comes up with something that sort of raises this up and like holds it in place, I think this is going to look a little weird. So maybe hold off on displaying your knights with the loose belt until somebody comes up with something better, which I'm sure somebody is already hard at work on. All right, for a little bit of size comparisons, and I will say getting that tabard back on the tunic on the upper part is pretty tough, but here he is with Billbone's broken shield and my Valiant Knight, same body, just with the Kai Labs tunic and chainmail on, so you can see how he scales in perfectly with other guys. But let's get these guys out of the way and let's get him up on the rotating base for some articulation poses, because one thing that I always hear from people is that I would buy Mythic Legions if they just moved better, if they articulated better. And I'm going to show you these guys move just as well as anybody else out there. All right, so our first pose is going to be a very vanilla one. It's just your standard, he's at rest, he's holding his shield, he's got his sword sheathed, and he's just kind of like surveying the battlefield. Sir Elijah is a messenger for the Knights Templar of Etherion, and so maybe he's getting ready to, take to horse and go out and deliver some very important messages for the leadership, for the commanders. And he's just surveying the land. Maybe he's surveying the battlefield to see like, who do I need to go and attack, because he's also a knight. And I just really love like a pose like this is perfect for me, like for how I like to display my figures on my shelf, like a little bit of story, a little bit of something going on there. Here is a secondary pose. Sir Elijah here is like leaning into the battle. He's getting ready to come down with a nice sort of like slashing strike. He's got his shield up to guard himself against the foes. A little bit of movement in the tunic, in the lower parts, but not much. And I just love how much he can sort of like, you can feel like he's putting all of his weight and leaning into this shield stance. Next up, we have another little stance here, like a variation on that other one, where he's probably lost his sword. Maybe there's a dragon that has entered the fray, and he's blowing down like flames of hot breath on him. So he's dropped his sword. He's getting ready to like hold the shield over his head and protect himself from the flames. We've got one of the pack hands on his right hand, sort of gesturing and kind of grabbing into the air. And I dig that. We have a little more movement in the tunic, just a little bit, but yeah. When that dragon comes out, this guy is going to be ready to protect himself from it. Next, we have a leaping pose. Man, I love putting this guy in like a flying pose. Maybe he's hopped off of his horse and he is coming through the air, about to come down on somebody's noggin with the business end of this hammer, which I really love. Gotta splay out those the tunic with all the wires in the tunic. He's got his little dagger on there as well, and I've got the vertical hinge gripping hand in there holding that axe, so that you get some of that downward motion as it's coming through the air. But I mean, yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, you could do this with a Mythic Legions figure. It doesn't have to be a Marvel Legends figure, to be able to get this kind of posing out of it. I really love this leaping pose. This is pretty sweet. And I had to put that helmeted helm back on. And here he is. He's probably just landed from leaping through the air. He's sweeping around to his right side. The wind is blowing. Maybe there's some flames going across the battlefield, so his tunic is blowing up. But he's letting everybody know, hey, don't let the armor fool you. I can still get into some really dynamic poses, and I can move. I'm ready to take the rest of you guys out. I can just see that he's kind of like peering out through that helmet at the guys around him. Here he is. Man, I love this pose so much. Like two-handed, legs spread apart, wind whipping the tunic around. He is ready to come down. He's letting everybody know we're not playing around anymore. If you come at me, I'm going to be bringing this two-handed hammer your way. Man, this guy just poses so well. Like, people, don't tell me that Mythic Legions don't pose well. Don't tell me they don't move well. They don't articulate well. They do. Get your hands on a new figure, and you'll find out that these guys move around so well. Even with the pauldrons on, they still move very well. And finally, we're going to put him in this pose here. The battle is over. There's probably some stragglers that have now surrendered. He's pointing directly at them as they sit on the ground on their knees, and he's letting them know, I won. I defeated you. The battle is won, and you guys, you need to head back to the house and calm yourselves down. Take a deep breath and go put yourselves in timeout. He's got the helm off. He's holding it in his hand. Of course, that hands pack helps out a whole lot with holding that helmet, and that vertical grip, or the vertical articulation on that right hand allows him to point the sword down. And if you position the sword just right, you can get it in a straight out pose. You can even put it over his head like he's He-Man or Lion-O. And no, I dig it. I love this pose. And this is another pose that I could see leaving him in directly on my shelf, because it just looks so good. So if you've never touched a Mythic Legions and you think that they're not like really articulated, get to a show, get your hands on one, and find out for yourself, because these guys they're a lot better articulated than they used to be. And next year in 26, we're going to be seeing the release of the new wave of Mythic Legions that are double jointed, and it's going to bring a whole new level of dynamic posing to the world of Mythos and Mythic Legions. So thank you guys so very much for tuning in and watching. I super appreciate it. Please continue to check us out over Instagram at Saturday Morning Toy Collector. I am your Saturday Morning Toy Collector, Mark, and I will see you in the toy aisles.